Arcade cabinets, also known as arcade machines or coin-operated machines, were popular entertainment devices found in arcades, amusement parks, malls, and other public places around the late 1970s to the early and mid-2000s. These large standalone machines housed video games, pinball machines, or other types of games. Players could insert coins or tokens into the cabinets to play games, which were displayed on a screen usually mounted inside the cabinet. Arcade cabinets came in various designs and sizes, featuring a control panel with buttons and joysticks specific to the game. Arcade cabinets also have a really unique art style, which makes it easier for players to find a certain arcade game that they're looking for. Players could compete against each other or try to achieve high scores individually. The arcade industry played a significant role in the history of video games, serving as a social hub where gamers gathered to enjoy the latest titles and compete with their friends and strangers. With the rise of home gaming consoles and online gaming, arcade cabinets are starting to become more difficult to find available. In this video, I'll be going over 7 different retro arcade cabinets with information on how they worked. The first one I want to go over is the most common arcade cabinet in North America, upright cabinets. The design was first used by games like Computer Space and Pong. After that, other arcade games were starting to copy the same format. Arcade cabinets today are usually made of wood and metal, about 6 feet or 2 meters tall, with the control panel set perpendicular to the monitor at slightly above waist level. The monitor is housed inside the cabinet at approximately eye level. Upright cabinets usually use a CRT display, which will give you the image of what it's being played. For the longest time, CRT displays were used a lot in the computer industry, but because of their bulky build that takes up a lot of space, they were replaced by LCD screens, and CRT displays are now considered a legacy device. Controls are most commonly a joystick for as many players as the game allows, plus action buttons and player buttons which serve the same purpose as the start button on console gamepads. A trackball can be used instead of a joystick in certain games, like world-class bowling. Another unique upright cabinet is having a steering wheel and throttle pedal instead of a joystick and buttons, like the arcade game The Fast and the Furious. There's also upright shooting games, which may have light guns attached to the front of the machine via durable cables. Games are typically for 1 or 2 players, however, games such as 1985 Gauntlet featured as many as 4 sets of controls. The next one I want to go over is cocktail cabinets. So right away, why the heck are they called cocktail cabinets? Well, whenever you go to a bar or pub, you'll most likely see these arcade cabinets hanging around there. Also, the top of the table is covered with a piece of tempered glass, making it convenient to set drinks on, and that's where the name cocktail cabinet came from. Anyways, the shape of the design is very simple and unique. Cocktail cabinets are shaped like low rectangular tables with the controls usually set at either of the broad ends and the monitor inside the table, the screen facing upward. 2-player games housed in cocktails were usually alternating, each player taking turns. The monitor reverses its orientation. In Japan, the Taito Corporation began developing different arcade cocktail cabinets from the 1970s to the early 1980s. One of their more popular designs was TT Space Invaders. Cocktail cabinet versions were usually released alongside the upright version of the same game. Cocktail cabinets were relatively common in the 1980s, especially during the golden age of arcade games, but have since lost popularity. But you can probably still find these machines somewhere out in the wild. Next, we have a cockpit cabinet. This cabinet is a type of deluxe cabinet where the player sits inside the cabinet itself. It can also be enclosed. A few good examples could be the arcade game Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back or the classic game Turbo by Sega. A number of cockpit or environmental cabinets incorporate hydraulic motion simulation. So the next one I want to briefly go over is the motion simulator cabinets. As the name implies, motion simulator cabinet is a type of deluxe cabinet that uses hydraulics which move the player according to the action on the screen. In Japan, they are known as Taikon games, the word Taikon meaning body sensation. Before Sega was known for Sonic and console systems, Sega was known for these types of cabinets. With various types of sit-down and cocktail motion cabinets that Sega had been manufacturing since the early 1980s. Namco was another major manufacturer of motion simulator cabinets. A good example would be the popular cockpit cabinet pole position. Next up, we have the Carburet Cabinet, or mini cabinet. These cabinets are very similar to an upright cabinet, often with full art and design, but are scaled down to more easily fit in a home environment or be used by children. The older forms of mini or Carburet cabinets were marketed for commercial use and are no longer made. These machines were often skinny as well as shorter, sometimes lacked any kind of side art, and had a smaller marquee and monitors. This reduced their costs, reduced their weight, and made them better suited to locations with less space. Instead of art design on the side of the Carburet cabinet, you'll most likely see clad in faux wood grain vinyl instead. And something that is even smaller than the Carburet cabinet, in most cases that has slowly gained more popular, is countertop cabinets. Countertop or bar top cabinets are usually only large enough to house their monitors and control panels. They are often used for trivia and gambling type games and are often found installed on bars or tables in pubs and restaurants. These cabinets often have touchscreen controls instead of traditional push button controls. They are also pretty popular with home use as they can be placed upon a table or countertop. They are also cheaper to own compared to a full scale size upright arcade cabinet. And the last one I'll be going over is candy cabinets, or candy cabs for short. Right away, looking at the machine, you can probably see it resembling a plastic hard candy, thus the name candy cabinet was created. This is probably one of the most unique and interesting designs ever for a cabinet. These machines are heavy and use a giant CRT monitor screen around 29 inches as opposed to 20 to 25 inch for a regular CRT arcade screen. They are positioned so that the player can sit down on a chair or stool and play for extended periods. SKN Corporation sold many Neo Geo NVS cabinets in this configuration. In Japanese arcades, this type of cabinet is generally more prevalent than the upright kind, and they are usually lined up in uniform looking rows. A variant of this, often referred to as Versa-style cabinets, are designed to look like two cabinets facing each other with two monitors and separate controls, allowing two players to fight each other without having to share the same monitor and control area. Another appeal to the candy cabinet is having the CRT screen to be physically switched between portrait and landscape modes. Anyways, do you have a favorite arcade cabinet that you like to play on? Let me know in the comment section. See you next time, and thanks for watching.